chance for black and white entertainment where you're going to talk about Star Wars. We're going to talk about this sequel trilogy reboot, retcon, alternate timeline situation. Look, I just watched a video. Oddly enough, I actually cut a version of this video last night. And I decided to recut it because I just watched a reaction from Jeremy over at Geeks and Gamers of a video he did to a guy by the name of Lore Star, who did a video about how The Mandalorian has actually already retconned the sequel trilogy, and it is wildly interesting. So, look, go over to Geeks and Gamers, check out Jeremy's video. Mr. Matrix sent me a message about a minute into cutting this video. I stopped it, went and watched the video, came back and was like, yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And then I was like, whoa, Rhodes, this is something in part you have already talked about, okay? Not to this detail and not in these exact contexts, but parts of it. I made a video on November 12th, 2018, when I was still a young YouTube pup, okay, a youngin'. Now, the main purpose of this video was Jason Ward. Yeah, that Jason Ward. The famed Star Wars leaker. I'm not sure that Star Wars leakers are supposed to be famed, but he's got MakingStarWars.net, and Jason Ward does get he breaks some news. You know, he's had some other nefarious dealings that you can go over to Disney Star Wars is Dumb or check out EVS. Ethan Van Shriver on YouTube, and you can find out about those dealings, okay? That's not my lane, but gross. Anyway, the point is, Jason Ward is very, very he's pro Kathleen Kennedy. Loves him some sequel trilogy, as does his kid, Noah Outlaw. You don't want no more of this, Noah, I promise you. So, I'll leave you alone in this video. Now, the point is not to rip his ass. All right, it is what it is. I already did that once. Now, I made a video about how the key to bringing Luke back alive for Star Wars Episode 9 was the world between worlds. Okay, they didn't do it. They could have done it. Maybe they could have saved something, but they didn't. And then they made a movie that was almost just as bad as The Last Jedi. John Matrix thinks it's worse. Look, they did destroy the legacy of Anakin Skywalker. So, look, Matrix has got a case there. He really does. And we're splitting hairs. They're both repugnant dog shit. Okay? Now, I have said, I've heard rumblings about a reboot or a retcon or something, an alternate reality. There are a lot of different damn strong theories out there. Okay? And Jason tries to shoot everything down because he's very pro Kathleen Kennedy. He doesn't want, number one, if you're involved in the fandom menace, he doesn't want anything to work out for you. Okay? So that gives you a perspective of where he stands, and many of these leakers, okay, are very pro-Hollywood. They just are. Whereas me, personally, I want a great story, and I don't give a rat's fuck if anybody likes me or not. I don't care. It's not part of my agenda. It's not part of what we do on this channel. It never has been. So, let's get to this. This is from Herb Schreiber. He's been on somebody's channel. I can't remember. Deseret News and Jason Ward. This is by way of inverse. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm basically gonna retort after I go through why Jason thinks this might not happen. Famed Star Wars leaker Jason Ward recently shut down the idea the Star Wars sequel trilogy will be rebooted, erased, or retconned in the near future. Ward, who has had scoops on the future of Star Wars, and he has, some of them's worked out, some of them hasn't. And look, leaking is not a 100% business, I can guarantee you that. Told Inverse that there's no sign of Disney or Lucasfilm wanting to reboot the sequel trilogy. Quote, there is nothing that makes me think anyone has any inkling of a reworking of the sequel trilogy. In fact, the idea is preposterous. Okay. Ward tells Inverse, quote, each sequel trilogy film is performing rather well for Disney, Lucasfilm, financially. Okay. To erase those would weaken a consistent revenue stream that is currently being capitalized on. Okay. Ward told Inverse that rebooting the sequel trilogy would upset millions of fans who have enjoyed the films. Okay. Quote, the idea of erasing those films would likely anger more fans than it would please. Okay. Can you imagine trying to convince the general public that the films they just saw do not matter? Okay. So, here's where we're at with this dog shit. Look, there is one simple reason why Disney would consider doing this, why Lucasfilm would consider doing this. It is called merch. Merchandise, okay? Plain and simple. And this is something from Bounding in the Comics a while back. The increase at consumer products business was due to growth in merchandising and licensing retail businesses. Growth at merchandising licenses was a third quarter toy report on higher revenue from merchandise based on Toy Story, which offset decreases from Star Wars merchandise. In fact, Star Wars merchandise sales have been in decline since 2016. Okay? 2016. It goes on to say it's not just merch. It is the entire franchise. Now, look, there's the main reason Lucasfilm bought this whole thing was merchandise. Over 35 years, the toys, this is prior to 2012. For over 35 years, the toys went on to produce $3 billion in revenue, $3.5 billion in video games, $2 billion in book sales, and $1.3 in licensing deals. Okay? That is, and to give you an idea, box office was 3.5. All that other shit put together is a hell of a lot more than the 3.5 from the box office, okay? And the box office from the sequels steadily quit performing, all right? And sandwiched in between was Solo that lost money. Upset what Star Wars fans exactly? You're going to upset what? 3 out of every 10? Maybe? That like that sequel trilogy horseshit horror show? Come on. Who gives a shit? The fact is, The Mandalorian is so well done by Favreau and Filoni, those fans don't even care. Those fans don't even care. When The Mandalorian premieres every Friday at 3 a.m., the sumbitch trends all day long worldwide on Twitter. And then Luke Skywalker came back and broke the internet in half. Baby Yoda happened, and it broke merchandise sales in half. You know what happened? The Mandalorian came along, and Star Wars started selling goods again. Interesting, okay? Do you believe that did not raise an eyebrow for Bob Iger and Bob Chapek? Stop it, Jason Ward. That is every bit the reason why they would do some kind of a retcon, reboot, or alternate timeline situation. Because, yeah, looming over The Mandalorian is heading towards the sequel trilogy. Now, look, there's different ways you can interpret things that Jon Favreau has said. Personally, a couple of videos were made about some stuff he said, and I still didn't draw the distinction that all roads were leading to the sequel trilogy, because it's my belief, really and truly, certain parts of the sequel trilogy can be retconned. Lore Star's video says very likely the Mandalorian is retconning, has already snapped the sequel trilogy. Thanos snapped the sequel trilogy because of a linchpin, a hinge in the Star Wars galaxy around Ahsoka's death. Living or dying, okay? Do we remember we heard her voice in The Rise of Skywalker? That's a hell of a good video. Go check it out. You can see it by watching Jeremy's reaction. But there's a lot of different theories there, okay? Let's be honest. There's a lot of check marks that Star Wars fans would appreciate in retconning the shit that's happened. Getting Han, Luke, and Leia back together, okay, in the same place, same time. Retconning the character assassination of Luke Skywalker. Retconning Han Solo's death and that shit around that, okay? And the list could go on. But it is awfully telling that Baby Yoda... Look, Luke showed up, picked up Baby Yoda, left. Ben Solo was supposed to be his first student. Well, it looks to me like that in itself is a big damn change that has already happened. Now, look, I understand we hear a lot about, but the First Order is still going to be in The Mandalorian. Well, hell, the new Empire could be called the First Order all day long. And if the story is good around the formation of the First Order, and the First Order grows into a different entity other than the Empire 2.0 with clone poor old Grandpapa Palpatine running the show, none of us is going to care if the First Order is there by name or if it grows into some form of the First Order. Nobody gives a shit about that. We care about the legacies of our characters. All right? And we care that the story is good getting there. Why would they do it? Jason Ward, why would they do it? Merchandise sales. They would love to sell some shit again. They would love to be able to make video games around the actual shows, the actual movies they put out, and have them bought and purchased. Kathleen Kennedy was not involved in the season 2 making of The Mandalorian. She was MIA. God, you would think we're dealing with brain surgery, okay? We are not. Look at the writing on the wall, okay? Look at it. And it is very clear certain parts of Lucasfilm watch YouTube channels. I'm just letting you know that. It is confirmed. You can confirm that shit. Okay? I know for a fact that they watch Star Wars YouTubers. And they got a real, true sense of everything. The hate for the sequel trilogy and the love for The Mandalorian. Remember? Kathleen Kennedy jacked up that whole Boba Fett thing, and then she come out and said, we're not doing anything around Boba Fett. Jon Favreau said, hey, Dave, do you want to do Boba? Yeah, let's bring him back. Boom, Boba Fett's back. Not only that, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, boom, Boba Fett series. We're doing that too. Right after, we're talking 9 months, a year after Kathleen Kennedy said, no, we can't, because of The Mandalorian and that character, we're not going to do anything with Boba Fett. Okay. Okay. Tell me what you think, black and white entertainment fans. Something is happening involving Star Wars. Why? Because they want to make money. It's not that damn hard. It's not. Something's rumbling there, folks. I mean, good God. Look at the tea leaf. Look. Was it Doomcock that said the reaction to Luke Skywalker coming back floored, I guess it floored a portion of Lucasfilm, which is utterly insane that you need to be reminded that Luke Skywalker was that big a deal with Star Wars. Evidently, Favreau and Filoni understood that. But judging by the High Republic, the other side, which, by the way, they have made public that they were mad about Luke's return because it stole their little thunder. Well, what side of Lucasfilm do you think that came from? The same side that probably Jason Ward is getting his leaks from. Fuck. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.